We all live in the present, but history is around us in our families, our communities, our nation, our world. Public folklore is a way of moving traditional arts and culture out of a particular community and putting it into a wider public sphere. There's a lot of different ways to approach it. For me, it's getting it out on the radio. I'm Nick Spitzer. This is American Roots from New Orleans, where in weather hot or cool, the street parades roll, driven by drums and horn voices of trumpet, sax, and especially clarinet. Here's a taste of the Paul Barberin Band. I consider my mother to be my greatest influence. She always asked questions of people about who they were and did it in a friendly way that everyone wanted to tell her. So I grew up in a place where I got attuned to these things. Radio goes way back in my life. In the 50s, when I was like maybe 5, to me the radio was a companion. And I listened to faraway voices from New York and Buffalo, and I listened to French hockey games from Montreal. And I was just amazed at the idea of, it sounds like ventriloquism, but the throwing of the voice, the hearing of sound from somewhere else that's live. And I just began to love radio as a way to hear oral tradition. When I got out of school, I'd been a lifeguard and a waiter and a grass cutter, but this was an emergent time for what they called underground radio. And I worked at WMMR in Philadelphia in drive time and played a lot of my favorite stuff, old-time country, blues, contemporary jazz, Cajun, Zydeco. But I saw what was happening. They were starting to get more and more commercial and the free form was going to go away. I realized it wasn't for me. I decided to study folklore at the University of Texas. I was doing fieldwork in Louisiana, and I realized that media could be something I would do. And that led me to go forward and make field recordings of Zydeco music and also finally produce a film. There were performances on fiddles and accordions, and old styles and new styles, and church services, people talking about their family histories and lives. Ultimately, the film was seen in the complete French-speaking world. It was seen on PBS. I went to the Seychelles and the Indian Ocean with it. It was a great vehicle for bringing people places and seeing the depth of the Afro-French culture. Doing the film, it taught me how to be a better media person. In 1976, I began doing fieldwork for the Smithsonian for the Festival of American Folklife. And at the festival, I met Bess Lomax Hawes, and the person who really shaped the folk arts program at the National Endowment for the Arts after being a deputy director of the Folklife Festival at Smithsonian. She was a mentor of mine. Bess Hawes helped me have the courage to go out and make public presentations central to my life. And then finally, while doing concerts on radio and public radio commentaries in Washington, I began to think I should do radio on a weekly basis, make it not sound so much like news, but make it sound like a music program for music's sake. And so I made a decision to go back to Louisiana. American Roots is a nationally heard public radio show from New Orleans. Over 25 years later now, we have 380 stations and 750,000 to 1 million listeners each week. I called it American Roots, R-O-U-T-E-S, because tradition changes and people invent it and reinvent it for the future. And I thought American Roots is the way to present that vision of American culture. We're not 60 Minutes trying to deconstruct a difficult political problem, but what we do is play the music, talk to the artists, present the dignity of people, the contradictions they themselves see in life.
Okay, here we go.
Here's Albert Nicholas to play and sing about a French Quarter lady who bruises her big toe. It's Baby Dodd's trio, Saledam, on American Roots. In a way, it's a fulfillment of everything I've always loved, which is talking to people, listening to music, understanding people through music. The conversations are their own rewards for me. Certainly, all my teachers and all the people I've met over the years in the field I can always remind them how much I appreciate what they've done, both in the field of folklore, but also in their communities as artists, as thinkers, and commentators.
That everything is sort of Creole in some way or another. There's a very big difference there.
I'm proud of the work, but I didn't do the work to get an award. I mean, I did the work because I thought it was the right thing to do. Receiving the best Lomax Hawes National Heritage Fellowship, it makes me feel incredibly good because of what best represented, which was helping people present their arts and their culture. I have to reflect what it means to the people that I worked with over the years. I'm certainly very happy and appreciative of the National Endowment for the Arts and all the people that supported it.